Hey, look, gravitation. Cannabis gotta be from up north forest from Jamaica. No confirmation, then it's no participation. Never see it in rotation in my conversation. No need for confrontation. This my observation. Gravitation with the observation. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm wrong, man. Not sure who my cat is. Oh, this is my boy that worked for Complex, but he had an amazing breakdown that my boy told me to go ahead and, peep out. But Complex, you feel me? He said that how Drake could have won this beef. So you already know, man, when it comes to rebuttals, I'm already, you feel me? I want to see what they talking about. I'm not always right. You feel me? That's why I say I'm not right. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm wrong. You feel me? But I do have an opinion. But we're going to go ahead and get into this. Like I said, I ain't going to hold y'all no longer. Get your smokes, get your drinks, get your eats, whatever you about to do. Let's go ahead and get into this.
Thing differently. And before I go any further, Dot fans, Drake fans, please relax. This is just a fun thought experiment. We all remember what happened on that fateful night, May 3rd. Drake and Kendrick have been trading shots for the previous 2 weeks with push-ups, tailor-made freestyle, Euphoria, and 616 in LA. Then on that night, Drake dropped Family Matters, a 7-minute diss aimed at the whole rap game. Dot ethered it with his dark ass Meet the Grams less than 20 minutes later, and the rest is history. But what if Drake approached that night with a different strategy? I think the rap world could have been altered completely. So let's start here. Family Matters.
That's what, and you know what's crazy? I was saying the same thing too, because a lot of people be now looking back on this. If Drake knew, like, put it like this, 616 in LA, Kendrick said, because I really don't believe it was no more, in my opinion. I just don't. I don't believe. I just think he was playing mental gymnastics with him. And why not? He ain't never heard that before. And he probably was going through something where it probably could be some halfway true now that I think about it as I'm recapping. But I don't think it was a mode like that just constantly saying, like, his every move, right? Like, hey, you know he's finna drop. You know he's finna drop. I do believe, yeah, he know he's finna drop. But at the same time, I don't think he heard the record or knew what he was going to say. He just was predictable, right? So that's why Ken already had, you feel me? He's ready to go. Let's just say that he's ready to go. But you knowing that after 616 came out, right? Why not just switch it? When he said, have you ever think somebody from OVO was working for me? That would have caught my attention. I would have scrapped everything. Checking everybody. Nah, bro. No. I'm cool with you. Hey, what you doing? You at the stool? Nah, I ain't going tonight. Oh, okay. Shit, what you gonna do? Don't worry about it. You feel me? Like, it would have been one of those, bro. Let me hear that track. No. I would scrapped all of that. You feel me? I'm gonna be all the way real. When I heard that would have made the game plan back up. Because if he's saying, and don't tell me you didn't hear 616 in LA. Of course you heard that. Yeah, of course you heard it. Y'all both heard each other tracks. That's why you had your rebuttals, right? But that would have made me like, hold up. Even if it wasn't true, debate, you feel, oh, I'm calling this bluff. You feel like he pump faking? Nah, that would have made me, yeah, for sure. I would have backed up. I wouldn't respond. Y'all said I'm dropping tonight. Nope. Even if I put it, because I already know how the DSPs works. Once you put it in there, you feel me, it take a certain amount of time, then it drop. No. I'll put a stop to that. You feel me? And then came back with something else. But let's hear what he got to say.
Is an all-time good song. It's lyrically clever. Drake shows off a bunch of different flows, and the music video was filled with Easter eggs. Because of the beat switches and distinct subject matter for each verse, it basically feels like multiple diss songs stitched together. So strategically, I think it would have been way more effective if Drake dropped it as 2 separate diss songs instead of 1.
I agree. And if he would have did it like that, I totally agree. And that's one thing I agree with Maul, right? I agree with Maul on that. You feel me? Instead of you could have just dropped that first part, then the second part, then the third. That would have been dope. That would have been dope for sure.
First, so the track is directed at Kendrick, and it's long enough to be its own song. Plus, it's a continuation of push-ups and blends into the previous track perfectly. And the reveal of Drake claiming that one of Dot's kids is actually Dave Freeze is good enough to close out a diss track with, even though it may not be true. Regardless, if Family Matters were 2 songs instead of 1, the first would still get ethered by Meet the Grams, but imagine that Drake responded right back to Kendrick with the second and third verses as their own track later that night.
No, that wouldn't have worked. That wouldn't have worked for the simple fact that you just said it. There was a bunch of he went at everybody. So if Meet the Grounds would have came out and you would have had that second verse, people would, I know me, I'd have been like, who the hell is Rakim? Why? I would have been lost. Why is he going at Rakim? With the OG rapper? What is he going at Rakim for? I wouldn't even be thinking ASAP Rocky. I'm going to be all the way real. If he would have responded back with that second verse after Meet the Grams note, and then if he would have responded with Kendrick just opened his mouth, someone had on my Grammy right now. I don't know I'm going at. I'm not going to lie. Me saying it like that, I can see that being a rebuttal, but it wouldn't have. Damn, now I'm thinking for a second. This is a real reaction. Now I'm thinking he probably could have got that one, bro. Because it would the momentum probably would have shifted just a little bit. Just a little bit. Because that last one, he couldn't have used, put it like this, he couldn't have used that second verse. That second slot, he couldn't have used that second slot. Let's just say that. He couldn't have used that second slot. But for sure, yeah, he couldn't have used that second verse. That's what I meant. He couldn't have used that second verse. The third one, that probably would have been a goer. But that Meet the Grams was so, yeah, that Meet the Grams was so crucial, bro. So crucial. I wish I would have got a real reaction when I gave it to my man. When I gave it to my other half, when I gave it to my love, she was saying, "Oh my God, Boxy, he's talking about." I swear that's how she was reacting, bro. Had me rolling. I swear that's how she was reacting. But yeah, let's keep going.
Drake would have had the upper hand that night, potentially shifting the momentum of the whole beef in his direction. But instead, he decided to focus his entire strategy on a single blockbuster song, and it didn't work. Drake uses the second.
Didn't work, you folk. I've been said that, bro. Why are you talking to them? I'll focus on him. Even I ain't gonna even lie. I'm Team Cater, but I'm like, Drake, focus on that nigga, bro. Focus on him. Forget Ross and all of them, bro. No. We don't want to see that. We want to see this. We don't want to see that. You wasting time. You wasting time, money. You just wasted too much time. Focus on him, bro. I can admit that. I want to see you feel me? Just like playing football or watching a boxing match. Like, bro, I want to see a fight. I want to see a good football game. Why are you worried about what's going on in the stands? What the you talking to cat? Honestly, Drake was talking to cats. The people that's on the bench. That's who he was bad. He was bad on the people that weren't even on the field. That's who he was playing against. Come on, bro. Let's keep it going.
Verse to go after the rest of the rap game that was coming at him, including A$AP Rocky, Rick Ross, The Weeknd, and Metro Boomin. It has his best rapping in the entire rap war because he officially handles all those guys in about 24 bars. And the last verse has quotables that we still hear today, even though Drake lost. Like Kendrick just opened his mouth, someone go hand him a Grammy right now. Even if you don't think that the second and third verse would have been enough to beat the onslaught of Not Like Us that came 24 hours later, it would have given Drake a much better fighting chance than whatever the hell the hard part 6 was. At the least, it would have left the outcome of the beef more up in the air rather than Kendrick being crowned the clear winner. But in reality, Drake's ego was yet again his greatest weakness. If he would have just focused on that with Family Matters and resisted the urge to handle the rest of the guys jumping him, things might have turned out differently. But it's all shoulda, coulda, woulda at the end of the day. There's no rewriting history, and Kendrick is currently on a victory lap in stadiums across the country. But now that it's been a year since the beef happened, it's fun to think about how things could have gone differently.
Damn, that's what's up, bro. You feel me? Wait, what are you?
Complex, I'm Jordan Rose.
Jordan Rose, that's his name. Shout out Jordan Rose. But yeah, bro, I like that. Shout out to you, J Rose. I like that breakdown. You feel me? I can see where you coming from. At least the momentum. I don't know if he probably would have won, but at least the momentum. Because and I said this on a previous video, I really don't think Not Like Us dropped. When that dropped, all BS aside, I still was like, okay, I see what we're doing. I see what's going on. I see how the media's reacted to it. Okay, cool. Bam. I'm like, he got one I know he got one in the chamber. Like, oh, you want to bring out the bops? Okay, watch this. I already knew it. I knew it. But then Hard Part 6 came. I was like, oh, yeah, it's a wrap. Even before shout out to Big Homie, even before Top Dog came out, it was like, yeah, bro, no longer. Like, you feel me? It was a good run. It was a W for the culture. They said that, you feel me, we couldn't do it without violence. And they was projecting that too. Like, oh man, they gonna really get into it. You feel me? If Drake come out here, it's gonna go down. If Kendrick go out there, it's gonna go like, bro, it's not that serious, bro. It wasn't that serious. It wasn't. I don't care what was said in those records. It was not that serious. You feel me? It wasn't that serious. But y'all let me know in the comments below. You feel me? How y'all feel about the situation? You think with my boy J Rose, that strategy, do you think that, hey, Drake could have won or at least changed the momentum? You feel me? I don't know. But gravitation with the observation, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm wrong.